And though the vegetable sleep will continue longer on some trees and plants than on others, and though some of them may not blossom for 2 or 3 years, all will be in leaf in the summer, except those which are rotten. What pace the political summer may keep with the natural, no human foresight can determine. It is, however, not difficult to perceive that the spring is begun. Thomas Paine, The Rights of Man. I am saying right now, day 1 of reading Founding Gardeners. This book is about to become my favorite book. Got some geese friends here joining me while I read. I feel like the Founding Fathers because I have so much nature around me. I just can't help but to look at all of it and think how beautiful it is. I'm just sitting here reading. The sun is shining and I love it. I'm just closing my eyes and taking it all in. It's so warm. It doesn't get in my eyes when I look down and read, so I'm okay with it. My feet are up. I'm just having a great time. I call this part of my garden my Liberty Garden. It used to be a bed filled with tomato plants and flowers, but now I've just kind of let strawberries grow wherever they want to grow. And there's even some volunteer tomato plants growing here. This is so libertarian. Just do what you want. Laissez-faire. I would say that fruit plants are my favorite to grow. So I have lemon, blueberries, raspberries. They've pretty much taken over everywhere. Goji berries. Then I have beans in here, split peas. Well, this is my current situation. I've got my Founding Gardeners book and a tissue box. I have a cold right now, so I don't mind sitting in bed and reading tonight because I have nothing better to do. And my tissues are right here when I need them. So I have a small problem. I was about to start recording my review of Founding Gardeners outside while I planted my new plants. Here they are, some tomatoes and peppers. It's sort of starting to rain. Ooh, there's a bumblebee. So it's sort of starting to rain, but not really. I feel some drops. So we'll see how far we can get. If we have to go inside, we will. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. My voice is a little hoarse because I've been getting over a cold. I think I'm gonna have to film inside. It's starting to rain and my notes are getting wet. My book is getting wet. That makes me sad. Okay, I guess I'll see you guys inside. I came up with a solution. So there's actually this little area here where I can stay dry and still be in my garden. Look at that. So I've got my garden behind me. And so now my notes won't get all wet. Look at that. Being innovative is just amazing. Founding Gardeners by Andrea Wulf. Hands down, my favorite book thus far. It took two of my passions, which are gardening and the Founding Fathers, and it put them into one book so beautifully. This book is perfect for anybody who loves nature and anybody who loves history, especially the time period of the 1700s and 1800s. In Founding Gardeners, you're going to read about Benjamin Franklin, George Washington and Mount Vernon, the American Revolutionary War, and how George Washington was away from Mount Vernon for almost 8 years. He only stopped home for a little while during that time. And I felt so moved during the part of the book where the author talked about how George Washington saw Mount Vernon from afar. I can only imagine being away from home for so long. You're going to learn about Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and their tour of the English gardens. You'll see how they moved apart in their relationship because of political reasons, but then they came back together for 14 years near the end of their life, and they wrote 150 letters to each other to improve their relationship. They talked about everything under the sun in their letters. You'll hear about the Constitutional Convention, which was practically like a seed swap permaculture meetup. The delegates of the Constitutional Convention, they went on a garden tour together. I mean, yes, they did a lot of political decision making, but they also wanted to unwind too and get out in nature. That was a passion that most of them seemed to hold. You'll read about Washington, D.C. That place has pretty much always been a swamp. So around the 1800s, when John Adams got there, the White House wasn't finished. There was like nothing there. It was a place that nobody really wanted to be. You'll hear about the Lewis and Clark expedition. I was actually kind of disappointed in Thomas Jefferson because he told Congress that the expedition was for commerce when it really was for science. And constitutionally, you really shouldn't be paying for scientific ventures, but Thomas Jefferson thought it was worth it, so I guess he's like, why not? You'll read about Monticello and Montpellier. The author in this book, her descriptive words and imagery just brought these characters alive. I mean, you feel like you're actually there in the book, walking with these founding fathers through these gardens. She tells you all of the plants that they see in these gardens, the plants that they have in their own gardens at their homes. I learned about this place called Poplar Forest, which is in Virginia, about 90 miles from Monticello, and that was actually Thomas Jefferson's retreat. I never knew he had a retreat, so now I can add that to my list of places to go on vacation when I visit Montpellier, Mount Vernon, Monticello. I mean, I just have a whole Founding Fathers tour I need to go on. I gotta get a tour bus going here. The author talked about the books that these guys read. Some of the ones were Gardener's Dictionary, Observations on Modern Gardening. It's just so funny to me that I'm so interested in reading about the Founding Fathers, but yet they were so interested in reading books by other people. And they loved reading about agriculture and gardening. That was their true passion. I mean, yes, they were in politics, but that really wasn't where they wanted to be. After they left their presidency, John Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all they wanted to do was be in the garden. Another thing that I really love about this book is that it includes a lot of pictures and diagrams that even the Founding Fathers drew. So it really brings everything to life. I mean, there's colored pictures. As if the descriptive words didn't help you visualize things, you have pictures to help you visualize everything. Look at that, that's Monticello. Here's a drawing of Mount Vernon. The book talks about the Founding Fathers and how they had slaves. I mean, this is something that I've never approved of. But George Washington, he used to make his slaves dig holes for trees in the super cold, frozen weather. I mean, he also got his hands dirty too, but that didn't make it okay. And then you had Madison asking his slave to carry a chair so he could sit outside. And they talked about the conditions that they lived in and how they barely had, vegetables to eat. So they had to grow their own to supplement. It's something that will never make sense to me. I mean, yes, I respect these Founding Fathers so much. They obviously were very smart men, but they didn't know everything. I'm going to read the very last part of the Founding Gardeners book. It's definitely my favorite, and I think the events that it talks about are just too much to be a coincidence. During the night of July 2nd, 1826, 2 days before the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, he fell into a fitful coma in his bedroom at Monticello. We're talking about Jefferson. He had been ill for several days, and his family was keeping watch day and night. On July 3rd, he briefly woke at 7 o'clock in the evening, speaking his last discernible words, "Is it the 4th?" And when assured by his doctor that it soon will be, he lapsed into semi-consciousness. As the evening turned into night, the family stared at the slow-moving hands of the clock, praying that Jefferson would last until after midnight. As the sun rose on the 4th of July at Quincy, John Adams also lay in bed, battling to breathe and with his eyes closed, surrounded by his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. The 90-year-old had spent the previous 2 days restless and in much pain, but had tenaciously clung to life with this iconic day in mind. As he woke, his family told him that it was the 4th, to which he replied with great effort, "It is a great day. It is a good day." At noon, as the chimes of the bells of Charlottesville rose to Monticello's mountaintop, Jefferson died. Only a few hours later, as the firing of the celebratory cannons grew louder in Quincy, Adams whispered the words, "Thomas Jefferson survives," and then passed away shortly afterward. As he took his last breath, a thunder shook the house, and then a rainbow arched across the horizon, a sublime sight. Adam's granddaughter said, "The rain stopped and the sun broke through the clouds that had shrouded the sky in darkness all day. For a moment, the light was beautiful and grand beyond description." Exactly 5 years later, again on July 4th, America's 5th president, James Monroe, died. James Madison was now the last of the founding fathers. By the end of June 1836, he was so weak that he knew his time had arrived. His doctors offered stimulants to extend his life to the 4th of July, but Madison refused. On June 28th, aged 85, he ceased breathing as quietly as the snuff of a candle goes out. That is just crazy to me, that James Monroe, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams all died on July 4th. Coincidence? We'll never know. I hope you enjoyed my video today. I'm sorry that I wasn't gardening. I mean, it's basically stopped raining. No, I still feel some raindrops. So I'm probably going to start digging some holes myself in the rain without my camera equipment. I don't want anything to get too wet or break anything. Oof, look at that mosquito bite, man. It's definitely itching. Okay. So, wow, and now it's raining again. Every time I turn on the camera, it starts raining. What is up with this? So the rain stopped for long enough for me to plant what I had in the little pots. So I just wanted to show you all how it turned out. This is a patio garden, so I have extremely limited space, and I pretty much grow things wherever in the world I want to grow them. So I really do not follow any rules. I have peppers, I have tomatoes, squash, strawberries, grapes, sunflowers, lettuce, fig, and strawberries that have taken over. So it's pretty fun. It's just a cluster of whateverness. And now it's raining. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you like my video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. As always, be free.